So, I haven't talked about books in a pretty long time. And even when I did, I don't even think I edited the reviews that I did for certain books this past year. So, this is long overdue. So this video is going to be my top favorite books of 2015. I did not read a lot this year. I wish I would have read more, but I had college stuff to do, and I just didn't have enough time. And then the holiday season happened, and work got crazy, so I only have like 6 or 7 books to talk about, or something like that. So I think it's only about well, there's actually more than 5, but I'm counting a series as one. So I'm going to start with an honorable mention, and that is None of the Above by E.W. Gregorio. This book is about a girl who, her name is Kristen, and she has a normal life. She's mildly popular. Yes, she's voted for the homecoming queen. She has a boyfriend, she has a lot of friends, and one day she, basically has sex with her boyfriend, and it's way more painful than it should be. So she goes to the doctor and finds out that she's actually intersex. And what that means is that she has both XX chromosomes and XY chromosomes that altered her genetics, or altered her body, I guess. And she is very different from your average girl. And this is a realistic portrayal of an intersex person, and it's really, really interesting. It was written by a surgeon. I.W. Gregorio, I should say, is a very well-known surgeon, and she's also writes YA books, obviously. And this book is talking about the intersex population, basically. I really enjoyed this book. It really opened my eyes to something I didn't even know happened. So this is a book that I think everyone should read, and it helps open your eyes to something that just everyone should be aware of and just know, because there's a lot of bullying and discrimination surrounding this that is all wrong. And it's really, really interesting book, and I thank I.W. Gregorio for writing this book, because it was fantastic, and it really opened my eyes. The next book I want to talk about is Reality Boy by A.S. King. This is a book about a boy named Gerald Faust, who was once a child actor on this reality show. He was very popular. When he was a little kid. He was like 7 years old, I believe, and he was a big troublemaker, and that was like the big thing, was that he was just a brat on TV, and he made a lot of money for it. And this book takes place when he's 16, I believe, or 17, when he's a teenager in high school, and it's dealing with the aftermath of being a child reality TV show star, and it's really, really good. I really was so surprised by this book. This is my first A.S. King novel that I've read. I really want to read her other books, because this was really good. It talks about depression and anxiety, and more so the mental disorder of anger and anger management, and just being so angry at the world that you hurt yourself. And it's just a really, really intriguing book, and it made me cry. It made me cry so hard, because I could relate to the main character in this book a lot, especially towards the end, in regards to family. And I won't get into that, but I really, really loved this book. It just blew my mind. It's so good. If you haven't read it, you definitely need to. It's fantastic. Next is Pip Bartlett's Guide to Magical Creatures by Jackson Pierce and Maggie Stiefvater. This book is about a girl named Pip Bartlett, who is, I believe, 11 years old? 8 or 9? I forget how old she is. This is a middle grade novel. It's very, very short, as you can see, very tiny, very easy to read, and it was so much fun to read. So hilarious. I really liked the main character in the book. She was wonderful, and I also liked Tomas, who is her friend. You can see them both on the back cover. They're awesome, awesome characters. And I really like the mythical creature part of the book. Regent Maximus is my favorite character. He is the unicorn who is he's very different from normal unicorns, and he's very, what's the word? He's afraid of everything. I forget what that word is, but he is just so funny, and just he gets scared of tumbleweeds, and cries about having to walk across a street or something. It's wonderful. It's so funny. This is the first book in a series, which I'm so happy about. The next book is supposed to come out this year, so I'm so excited. I have no idea when, but I did tweet Jackson Pierce when I finished reading this book, and she said she was already working on book 2. So very, very, very happy about that. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. The next book is not otherwise specified by Maggie? What am I doing? No, it's Hannah Moskowitz. Sorry, I was still on the Maggie Stiefvater craze right there. This is a book about a girl named Etta who is a black bisexual girl who's living in I think she lives in New York, and she's going to this, is it a theater, or I forget, I think it's a theater school, and she doesn't fit in. She does not fit in at all, even in the gay community, because of the whole, what would it be called? Biphobia, I guess, in a sense. And she's just trying to be herself and be who she wants to be. And I really, really loved this book. It again opened my eyes to some of the hate that can go on within a community of people that are supposed to love each other and respect each other. So yeah, just do it, okay? I really love the main character, and it actually did talk a lot about eating disorders as well, which was another big theme of the book, which I believe the author had gone through in her childhood before. So that's just, this book makes me want to cry, honestly, because it's so raw and so real. It's definitely probably my favorite book that I read. A favorite YA book that I read this year, definitely. I love this book so much. It's so good. And Hannah Moskowitz is Hannah Moskowitz. She's amazing. Every one of her books are great. I still need to read Teeth and Break and her newest book that just came out. It came out last year that I didn't read. But I do want to read her rest of her books because she's wonderful. And if you haven't read her yet, you definitely should. I would recommend either starting with Invincible Summer or this. They were brilliant books. Brilliant books. She's an awesome author. Next, I actually read the first book of this series. This one's In a Glass Grimly, but the first book is A Tale Dark and Grim, which you can't see on the back cover because it's too dark in here. But this is a retelling, or the book that I read was a retelling of Hansel and Gretel, and a bunch of other retellings from the Grimm fairy tales, and they all kind of mesh together and intertwine. And it was so funny. And yet, at the same time, it was so dark and comedic and just wonderful. I really, really enjoyed reading this book. My favorite aspect is definitely the narrator. The narrator of the book is just so sarcastic and sly and just hilarious. So you need to read this. This middle grade series is wonderful. I have all 3 books. I'm going to read the second one soon. I lent out the first one to a friend, so that's why I don't have it right now, but I really enjoyed this series. It's so good so far. I really, really like it. And now for my favorite book series I read this year, and I didn't finish all of it, but I read 4 books in an urban fantasy series that I loved, and that would be the Iron Druid Chronicles by Kevin Hearn. I read the first 4 novels in the series. The first one is called Hounded. This is the first book, obviously, and this book is about an Iron Druid named Atticus O'Sullivan, who is a 21 century old druid. He's the last of his kind, and he has to fight off baddies and demons and crazy gods and monsters, vampires, werewolves, ghosts, or maybe not ghosts. What would the other term be? Whites or whatever. It's really, really cool. I loved this urban fantasy series, or what I read of it so far. It's such a fun break from reality. That's basically the reason I read it, because I just needed a break from realistic fiction, and I wanted something fantasy. I just needed a little fantasy in my life. Another one of my favorite aspects of this book is the sidekick character of Oberon, who is the Irish wolfhound that Atticus has as a best friend, and he is the funniest character I have ever read about. Imagine a giant dog that just is so sarcastic about everything and has a comment for everything that happens, and it's hilarious and wonderful. My favorite book in this series so far is Hammered. This book put me through the ringer. Oh man, so much happens in this book that I can't even talk about. I cried in this book, and I'm really scared to keep going because my friend has told me, yeah, you'll probably cry later on in the series. You'll probably cry. So, yay, I'm glad I get to cry. Probably in book 6. I'm just guessing because this is book 3. But this one was wonderful, and my friend actually got it signed for me, which is wonderful if I can find it. So I'll just cover my name. It's signed by Kevin Hearn, so yay, I love him. He's wonderful. He wrote Time to Kick Some Asgard, Kevin Hearn, which is wonderful. I love him. He's such a funny guy from what I hear. I haven't met him. I wish I could have gone to Salt Lake City Comic-Con with my friends to meet him, but I didn't get to. But I still really, really love these books. So those were all of the books that I absolutely loved reading this year. I wish I would have read more, but I didn't. So, yeah. What were some of your favorite books that you read this year? Please let me know in comments down below, and I would love to have a discussion with you about your favorite books. Maybe I've read them, maybe I want to read them this year. I'll probably pick them up if I haven't, but maybe not. I need to get rid of some of my books, because there's too many. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys in my next video. Stay sexy.